Just did a couple of strokes here with some of the study I did yesterday. Changed the mixture a little bit, changed the implements a little bit, and so these are the first two. And I have to say, from this point, from an initial mark making point of view, yes, and I definitely think this is going to work. Obviously there's some breakup here, but I'm sure I can control this. And colors are really vibrant, movement works well. You do have some nice movement in here. So unfortunately in this case, I think as a test paper I went too small because I would have liked to expand out, but I guess I don't think I was being too optimistic that this one would work. So look at this beautiful thing. So it maintains, I mean, in terms of these inner strokes, they maintain that kind of human touch. It breaks up a little bit here. The edges are a little bit frayed, but certainly for a beginning test, I'm very pleased with this. Some unnecessary marks here that I'd rather not have, but all something that I think can be remedied, just a change in technique. But yeah, that's a handsome looking thing, I think. So between these two studies, these two marks and these two, it kind of tells me everything I need to know here about how this is going to behave and how the material at this level will break apart at certain points. So through this I can then adjust my technique, or even the canvas size and everything to work from there. So everything I need to know about the next step, I've learned it here, about how to prepare, how to move, how to mix it. So I'm going to write this down and then I'm going to jump onto a canvas. I think that's the thing to do here. It's still at the point where it's a little bit, you know, you kind of hold your breath a little bit when you're doing it, and I think that's the point. That's a good point to jump onto canvas, because you're going to allow these kind of mistakes. They're kind of mistakes in the beginning, so they will become part of the work, rather than this thing of like perfecting it on paper and then trying to just transfer that, photocopy it essentially onto canvas. It doesn't really work. There's no life in it. So sometimes when you have all your homework done and you have your calculations right, and then you set out and you go for the bigger piece, it just works out perfectly. But today is not that time. Today we have, there's a definite discordance here. I've just been looking at it, and I can't nail it down exactly. I mean, it's quite messy. We've got like some broken lines. There's some big gaps here that I wasn't planning on having. Patches, like two kind of pools of color here that I'm not really interested in. So from that point of view, it's fine. But I mean, the overall form, it just doesn't work. It's just, I mean, this is just a crack. I guess I call it a sketch. But from what I can see here, or what I can grasp, I think this kind of movement here is quite important, but it doesn't tend to work when it just doesn't seem to work when you have this almost straight angle here. So the two things together cause a disharmony of some kind. So this is very clean, almost like a clean curve. And over here you can see this sort of dynamic, this movement, but together it just doesn't work. I think that's my feeling. So sometimes you gotta jump in and take a chance, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But it's in the experience of it, I think, that you kind of figure out these details. So where does that leave me? I think I'm gonna have to do a little bit more experimentation with this. I'm gonna have to go back to paper perhaps, and just really get the movement down into muscle memory before I go again. But I mean, there's as always, there's some redeeming details, but on the whole, it doesn't work for me. It's too sloppy. I'm just not feeling it as I did the other ones. So, however, I'm going to leave it. It's something that I can layer on. I can go back and I can build up on again. So I think I'm going to leave this. I'm going to let it dry. Otherwise, yeah, I think I have to sign off there. I need to go back to paper, think about this, and do a little bit more work before I try again. So.